here's your host of Living the Country Life, Betsy Freeze.
A deck is one home improvement project that can add instant value to your property. Today we're going to talk about decks with Marlon Kemet, Managing Editor of Wood Magazine. Marlon,
welcome, Betsy.
Can you tell me a little about your deck?
When I designed and built this 8 years ago, we wanted a deck that was totally different than any deck that had ever been built. We wanted different materials, a different design, and we even didn't attach it to our house. So there's a lot of different things about this deck.
Can you tell me why you didn't attach it to your house?
We live in a beautiful area, and one of our best views is out the back of our house. We didn't want to put a deck back there where we were looking into the deck and looking into the deck railing. We wanted to keep that view unobstructed, so we decided to put it away from the house. Also, we wanted a fire pit with the deck, and we didn't want a fire pit that close to the house. You get a fire going, you go in for an evening, if you have embers blowing around, that's not safe.
A little dangerous.
Exactly.
Tell me about the construction of the deck.
The deck is a little bit different in that it is built on a post and beam construction, and it's made out of laminated green treated wood that I glued and screwed together to give it more structure, more strength. And then I stained the post and beams after we had them in place, and then built the platforms and the two-level decks on top of that.
Tell me about the wood you've used.
This is a real unique wood. It is called Ipe. It's a South American wood that is extremely hard and extremely dense. It's used two places in the United States. It's used on the Atlantic City Boardwalk and the boardwalk in Duluth, Minnesota, in that it takes a lot of wear and tear.
It's so hard.
Oh, extremely hard. The downside is it's hard on your tools and that it dulls your blades. The good side is it lasts forever.
And this deck, you said 8 years old?
The deck is 8 years old, and it is structurally as sound as the day we built it. Nothing has warped. Nothing is splintered or cracked. The deck is in extremely good shape for being
It's beautiful.
And it'll last another 10-20 years.
I notice how smooth it is. Is there any trick to that?
A couple tricks. After we built the post and beam construction, we put joists on top of that. And then when we put the Ipe deck boards down, we put them down with a biscuit system called ebb ties. They're a plastic biscuit that you have to actually use a biscuit joiner to create the mating biscuits. You put a plastic biscuit in between them, and then use a screw that goes through the biscuit instead of the deck board to hold the deck boards down. So it holds everything down nice and even. It keeps them from moving around, and they're made out of plastic, so they'll last forever. The screws are stainless steel screws, so they're not going to twist off when you put them in, and they're not going to rust, and the stainless screws will last forever.
You mentioned your fire pit. Tell me about the construction.
The fire pit was actually what the whole deck was designed around. I looked at a lot of different things on how to do a fire pit. I looked at doing something metal, having a mason come in and build something.
Right.
Those got to be a little bit expensive. I was driving by a concrete plant one day and saw what they call a 4-foot manhole section. I drove in. It was under $200. When I designed it, I designed the top lip of the fire pit to be 22 inches above the deck flooring. That's an optimal height for this type of seating, so you can see the fire, yet you're far enough back that you're not going to get overheated, or if there's a little bit of a breeze, the smoke isn't going to be blowing into your eyes. The next thing we did was we filled the manhole section in with pea gravel, so when it rains, the water will filter down.
Right.
And then I lined it with fire brick. When we first used it and had a fire in here, it threw off a lot of heat, and it also got the cement hot. We were a little bit worried about the cement getting too hot and possibly cracking. By putting the fire brick in there, we've completely eliminated that, and the heat pretty much goes straight up now.
I really love your lights. Can you tell me about those?
Thank you. While the style of the deck is a little different from the lights are a craftsman style light.
Right.
You've got the slow slanting roofs, the elements in the side here. I designed the lights using regular steel that you could buy from a steel plant. It's tubular steel and flat steel. I worked with a local machinist where I did the design, and then he did the welding. One of the nice things is the wiring is all hidden throughout the electricals on the deck. For each light, the wiring comes up one of the tubes.
Right.
It comes across the top into the light fixture. All the lighting then is run off one switch, which is right here. So there's no electrical wires visible throughout the deck, and even the wire that comes up to the switch, I cut a dado in the post here, cut a filler strip to fill over that, glued that in place, and hid that wire as well. All the other wiring is hid under the deck.
Let's look at your grill. It's beautiful. Is this the same wood that's in your deck?
Yes, it is. This has always been covered, so this is what it looked like originally, the wood. And we put hardtop in here. I got an industrial quality grill. The propane tank is stored underneath, so it's kind of self-sufficient. We cover it up so the weather doesn't beat on it too bad, but we have a lot of fun out here. And this too has electricals in the side of it.
Anything else that you want to tell us about your deck that's unique?
Well, when we designed the deck, my job at Wood Magazine is to work with furniture design, so I'm constantly looking at drawings of how furniture goes together, and that's what I wanted in this deck. For instance, rather than just screwing the rails onto the posts, we put a notch in for each one. So not only does that hold it, but then when we do put the screws in, we plug the screws. So it makes for a nice sturdy construction. This deck you don't have problems with wobble and things after a few years. It's a very sturdy built deck, and it's going to last for decades.
Thank you, Marlon, for sharing all this information. You have a beautiful place.
Thank you very much.